We are here and ready to rock and roll. So I will give Sherry just a moment to get our meeting recorded, or is that the timer I see on the left? Are we recording?
It should be popping up. There you go.
All right. We are recording, so I will call the St. Paul City Council to order. Roll call.
Tolbert.
Here.
Yang.
Here.
Jalali.
Here.
Naker.
Here.
Prince.
Here.
Tao.
Here.
Council President Brenmon.
Here.
7 present, no one absent.
Please stand and join Jane Prince as Jane Prince leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Council Member.
Consent agenda items 6 through 21 are before you for your consideration.
I know we are taking item 16 separate. Is there anything else that should be taken off consent? All right, seeing none, Ms. Naker moves the balance of the consent agenda. Any discussion? Roll call.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The consent agenda is adopted as amended. Item 16 is Resolution 21-1605, recognizing Hope for the Days 2021 National Suicide Prevention and Action Awareness throughout the city.
Councilmember Yang.
Thanks, Council President. I want to give a huge welcome and thank you to Bev Short, the Assistant Director of Public Policy at Hope for the Day, for bringing forward this resolution to all of us at the Council. They've done tremendous work in suicide prevention and worked in partnership with so many organizations. And this resolution is also a similar resolution passed by many other cities as well. So Bev, we truly want to say thank you. I have a couple of questions for everyone. And for those of you who don't have yourself on camera, you can certainly raise your virtual hand. I was wondering how many of you have been impacted by suicide, whether directly or indirectly? Please show your hands. How many of you have lost a loved one to suicide? Thank you so much for showing your hands with us and for showing your solidarity as well. I want to say thank you to all of the council members for co-sponsoring this. I still remember when I lost, my friend to a suicide when I was still in high school, and I still carry that on with me today. And as I think about the, my first 2 years on the council here, I know we all get invited to so many events, and the events that have been most heartbreaking for me to go to are funerals. In just the last year alone, I have attended 2 funerals for high school graduate alums at Harding High School. Who took their own lives, and in that it's truly a ripple effect to the entire community. All of us have been impacted by suicide in one way or another, or know someone who has completed suicide as well, and it's truly a common thread to all of us. We know that the power of human connection and love and care for each other is one of the most powerful ways to prevent suicide, and that silence is a huge obstacle in suicide prevention, and why resolutions like this and the work that Hope for the Day and many organizations in partnership with them, what they're doing is so critically important. And so Bev, you have the support of so many of all of the council members here, and I'm so happy to share that, and I want to welcome you to say a few words to all of us. So you have the floor.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm hoping you can hear me. Am I good? Okay, fantastic. Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak about mental health and acknowledging it as an issue and just starting the conversation, your own community. At Hope for the Day, we believe in meeting people where they are. It's one of our main focuses, and fighting the stigma surrounding mental health at every turn. So by signing this proclamation, you're taking a huge step towards normalizing conversations about mental health. And besides that, we also at Hope for the Day offer free mental health education and resources. And we would love to keep this conversation going. So feel free to check out our website, hftd.org, for all of that free mental health education and resources. It's free and open to anyone and everyone. And you play such an important part in this process, and I'm thrilled to have been a part of it. And this community where you can support one another, because at the end of the day, we are all in this together. And I think that this pandemic really showed everyone that, right? We're all really in this together. So I'll be here to answer any questions and talk about how we can continue to get your community educated and involved. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Bev. And I would like to take a few minutes to read through the resolution here. So recognizing Hope for the Day's 2021 National Suicide Prevention and Action Awareness throughout the city. Whereas the National Suicide Prevention and Action Month proclamation was created to raise visibility of local mental health resources and suicide prevention services available, with the goal of destigmatizing mental health through conversations, reducing the impacts and rates of suicide, and connecting people to resources and support. And whereas, according to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death among adults and the second leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 10 and 34 in the U.S. And whereas more than 48,000 people died by suicide across the United States in 2018, with an average of 132 suicides completed daily. And whereas each and every suicide directly impacts a minimum of 100 additional people, including family, friends, coworkers, neighbors, and community members. And whereas global organizations like Hope for the Day and our local mental health partners serve on the front lines of a war that many still refuse to discuss, as stigma regarding suicide and mental health issues is far too prevalent. And whereas the St. Paul City Council encourages all residents to take the time to understand the importance of mental health education and recognize that taking care of ourselves and others includes taking care of mental health. And whereas the City of St. Paul further encourages residents to share about Hope for the Day's 74 mental health care programs citywide, and whereas locations across the city are Open Cities Health Center on 916 Rice Street, Open Cities Health Center on 409 North Dunlap Street, outpatient counseling on 1246 University Avenue West, Lutheran Social Service of Minnesota, individual and family counseling on 700 Snelling Avenue South, and Avivo Adult Mental Health Services on 1450 Energy Park Drive. And more resources of information are available at Hope for the Day's website. And whereas we encourage all residents of the City of St. Paul to take time to inquire as to the well-being of their family, friends, and neighbors, to genuinely convey their appreciation for their existence by any gesture they deem appropriate. A simple phone call, a message, handshake, or hug can go a long way towards helping someone realize that suicide is not the answer. Now, therefore, be it resolved that in the year of 2021, and that the St. Paul City Council do hereby recognize National Suicide Prevention and Action Awareness throughout the City of St. Paul. And I'd like to close off by emphasizing like how important the work that we all are doing, the work that we all do as a council. We have the power to make so many drastic and important changes in our communities by investing in mental health and care work and social workers, which, as you all know, are actual items in our budget for this year. And as someone who comes from a social work background, this is something that I support so much and will always continue advocating for when we're talking about solutions and the options available on the table to protect our communities. It is truly in front of us. And so, Bev, again, thank you for being here with us and sharing your words and expertise. And with that, Council President, I would like to move forward and approve the resolution.
Thank you, Council Member. I see Mr. Tao has a hand up. Mr. Tao.
Thank you, Council President, and thank you, Councilmember Yang, for bringing this forward. This is such an important issue in the community. Mental health, depression, it doesn't discriminate, race or gender. It happens to everybody in the community. And so I would encourage that even in the people that I'm around, male, right? Sometimes they have this macho where they feel like they don't have mental health or that they can do things on their own. And I would encourage that, to see help. If you need it, it's okay. Actually, you're way tougher by seeking help, acknowledging that you do need help. And so I would encourage that. And I also echo what you said earlier. Sometimes people who have depression, they're not looking for answer when they come to us and they tell us that they're feeling down or that they want to take their life. They're not asking us to pay their bills or anything difficult. They just want us to say that we hear them and that thank you for sharing, and we empathize with them, and there's a way and we'll figure it out together. So thank you so much for the Suicide Prevention Month and the work that Bev, you're doing.
Thank you, Mr. Tao. And I will support the motion and also just add that this is an opportunity, as has been mentioned, for us to spread the word and share information. And there's something about the resolution as written that's also a public service announcement. There's addresses and information on how to get help. And so I encourage my colleagues and anybody who is watching to take a copy of the resolution and share it on social media. It's an easy way to get more information out and again, destigmatizing mental health issues and also providing resources for folks in need. So it's sometimes the resolutions it's important to uplift, and I appreciate the work. And in this case, it can have a dual purpose because we can all share it out. So I thank you for that. I don't think they're often written in such a way that can be used in such a functional manner as well. So I appreciate that, and I will commit to doing that today. There's a motion from Ms. Yang. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Yang,
Aye.
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tao,
Aye.
Council President Brenman.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The resolution is adopted. Item 22 is an update on the rent stabilization ordinance.
On this item, I had an opportunity to check in with the mayor and the deputy mayor earlier this afternoon. I know that our goal as council members and our goal collectively with the mayor's office is to move forward on rent stabilization with a clear and consistent message so folks have a clear understanding of what has been passed and what is our path forward. I can share that the city expects to enforce rent stabilization as of May 1st, 2022. And the administration committed to joining us later this month with further clarification on some of the questions we brought up last week and in the subsequent days. So we look forward to hearing that report. And in the meantime, we'll work to be consistent in our messaging to our community members and to our stakeholders.
Item 23 is Resolution Public Hearing 21-298, authorizing a business subsidy for the OMG Studios. The public hearing was closed on November 3rd.
Ms. Jalali, I know we moved this, held this item over just simply to get some logistical ducks in a row. Are there further questions on this item, or would you like to move item 23?
Yeah, thank you. It's my understanding since that Annie has added to the record the application attachments that were meant to be included last week as part of the STAR approval. So the application is now there with the notes from the review board. I can reiterate, last week I was happy to support this. I think it's good we took the time to get those documents as they're supposed to per the procedure. This is a small communications firm that is aiming to both support and serve nonprofits and organizations in the neighborhood and across the Twin Cities, as well as helping empower youth with communication skills. And they're housed now in the building, I think, adjacent to the Lake Monster Brewing and that whole little node over there. That is also home to SPNN and just a good neighborhood of different community institutions. So that's my understanding, and I am happy to move forward and motion to approve. We'll stand for any questions from colleagues, or if staff want to bring back a report, can do that too.
Great, are there any questions on Ms. Jalali's motion? Great, and I mentioned last week that I was very supportive of the project and of the applicant, and just appreciated the 1 week to get those ducks in the row. It's a STAR award that was vetted by our STAR committee, and I am supportive as well. Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The resolution is adopted. Item 24 is final adoption of ordinance 21-33, amending chapters 65 and 66 of the legislative code pertaining to homeless services facilities.
All right, and this item's had 3 readings as an ordinance would, and in fact, we've laid it over 2 times for amendment, and it was laid over last week in its final form, and is coming before us today for a final vote. Is there any additional discussion on this item? Ms. Naker.
Thanks, Council President. I just want to speak in support of this ordinance and to thank my colleagues for the really productive discussion that we had last week. I think that this is in really good shape. And as I said last week, I think this is a really critical use for those in our community who are most vulnerable. And this will allow us to provide day services to people throughout the city of St. Paul, which is something we've never been able to do before. So I think especially with the amendments we added last week, this is really strong, and I look forward to voting yes.
Thank you, Council Member. Any other discussion? All right, we'll take a motion from Ms. Jalali and roll call.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The ordinance is adopted. Item 25 is final adoption of ordinance 21-41, amending the commercial development district known as the Schmidt Brewery Commercial Development District to remove liquor license restrictions.
All right, and this is before us for final adoption. I know you said it, and then I had to double check before I messed up and said it was a public hearing. So this is before us for final adoption. Is there any final discussion on this item? So moved by Ms. Naker. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao. Councilmember Tao.
Aye. Sorry, my
Council...
mute. Come on.
Okay. Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The ordinance is adopted. Item 26 is final adoption of ordinance 21-44, granting a 5-year extension of the Energy Park Utility Company franchise held by the Port Authority from August 1st, 2036 to August 1st, 2041.
All right. Mr. Tao would move approval as representative from the Port Authority. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tao,
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The ordinance is adopted. Item 27 is a public hearing of ordinance 21-42, amending section 220.05 of the Legislative Code to set rates for base level garbage service to be effective January 1st, 2022.
All right, and this item has had a virtual public hearing, and we additionally have one person, I believe, who has registered to speak live at this public hearing. And I'll check with staff to see if we have our caller.
Yes, Council President Brenmon, Mr. Tim Moorhead is on the line to testify. Mr. Moorhead, please press *6 to unmute yourself.
I believe I pressed *6 already. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can. Welcome, Mr. Moorhead. Thank you for being here today. If you could start just by saying your name and address and share your thoughts in a minute or two, that would be great. Thank you.
My name is Tim Moorhead, or Timothy Moorhead, 1932 Bayard Avenue, and I'll just make it brief. I try to reduce my trash as much as I can, and I'm trying to restrict my purchasing of material and all that stuff, and I have been doing this for quite a while. My comment is that I'm a every other week type person, and if trucks were to come down my street, they would come down probably every other month to pick up my trash. So outside of maybe some unusual construction. So my point is that I believe for all the people that are using every other week service, their rates should really go down. I feel like I'm subsidizing the people that are not paying attention. We've got to reduce our waste. So that's my comment, and that's the way I feel, and I'm going to continue trying to do a better job for our future generations. And thank you very much for your time, and have a good night.
Thank you so much, and thank you for being a leader in reducing waste. I want to model even more of that than I already do, so I appreciate that call to action as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. As I mentioned earlier, this public hearing was also held virtually, and folks had an opportunity to share their perspective online and through voicemail. So as such, Ms. Nager would move to close the public hearing. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert. Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the ordinance is laid over to November 17th for final adoption. Item 28 is a public hearing for ordinance 21-45, amending Chapter 64 of the Administrative Code to update deferral language, delete sewer separation references, and update assessment procedures.
All right, and we had a council staff update last week on this item, and we've held the public hearing virtually. As such, Ms. Nager would move to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the ordinance is laid over to November 17th for final adoption. Item 29 is public hearing for ordinance 21-46, amending Chapter 60 of the Administrative Code to clarify hardship deferral language.
And we've held this public hearing virtually. As such, Ms. Naker moves to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
You didn't hear me.
No,
Aye.
I'm sorry.
Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that. Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution or the ordinance is laid over to November 17th for final adoption. Item 30 is public hearing for ordinance 21-47, amending chapter 177, removal of dangerous trees of the legislative code by deleting it in its entirety and combining its provisions into chapter 175 of the legislative code.
And this public hearing's been held online. So Ms. Naker would move to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince. Tao.
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the ordinance is laid over to November 17th for final adoption. Item 31 is the public hearing of ordinance 21-48, amending chapter 175A of the legislative code, emerald ash borer pest insect, by deleting it in its entirety and combining its provisions into chapter 175 of the legislative code.
And this public hearing's been held virtually, so Ms. Naker moves to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the ordinance is laid over to November 17th for final adoption. Item 32 is a public hearing of ordinance 21-49, amended chapter 62 of the administrative code to clarify hardship deferral language and other language clarification.
And this public hearing has been held virtually. So Ms. Naker moves to close the public hearing. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the ordinance is laid over to November 17th for final adoption. Item 33 is a public hearing of ordinance 21-50, amending chapter 175 of the legislative code in order to combine 3 chapters regarding the abatement of dangerous trees or diseased trees into one chapter and to clarify hardship deferral language.
This public hearing has been held online and Ms. Naker moves to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the ordinance is laid over to November 17th for final adoption. Item 34 is a resolution public hearing 21-307, approving the application of Podium Sports Marketing, Inc. for a sound level variance in order to present amplified sound from the Turkey Trot St. Paul on November 25th by Shepherd Road between Washington Street and Sherman Street.
And this public hearing has been held online. And as such, Ms. Naker moves to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, none opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item 35, resolution public hearing 21-308, approving the application of Allianz Field for a sound level variance in order to present live amplified sound for the Great Lawn concert at Allianz Field on June 14th by Allianz Field, 400 Stelling Avenue North.
And this public hearing has been held online and Mr. Tao moves to close the public hearing and approve. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, none opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item 36 is resolution public hearing 21-310, amending the financing and spending plans in the fire department in the amount of $2,024.33 for a donation from the St. Paul Fire Foundation.
And this public hearing has been held online. As such, Mr. Tolbert moves to close the public hearing and approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Yang,
Aye.
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tao,
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, none opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item 37 is resolution public hearing 21-311, amending the financing and spending plans in the fire department in the amount of $1,127,272.73 for the 2020 Assistance to Firefighters Grant to purchase 248 radios.
And I'd just like to point out that that is a lot of support from the Assistance to Firefighters Grant. $1.1 million is about a 0.75 of a levy percentage point. So this is a significant contribution for fire radios. And I just want to not just let that blow by. That's a big, it's a lift off of our budget requirements. So that's great. Ms. Prince would move to close the public hearing and approve. Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Yang,
Aye.
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tao,
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item 38, resolution public hearing 21-312, amending the financing and spending plans in the fire department for $10,084.47 for the reimbursement from the Minnesota Firefighter Initiative to provide training for firefighters.
And this public hearing has been held virtually, and Ms. Yang moves to close the public hearing and approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Yang,
Aye.
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tao,
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item 39 is resolution public hearing 21-313, setting the solid waste service fee for 2022.
And this public hearing has been held virtually. Ms. Naker would move to close the public hearing and lay the item over to December 8th to pass with the remainder of the city budget. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Yang,
Aye.
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tao,
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is laid over to December 8th for adoption. Item 40 is resolution public hearing 21-314, amending the redevelopment plan for the St. Paul neighborhood redevelopment project area and approving the establishment of the 520 Payne Avenue Housing Tax Increment Financing District in the neighborhood redevelopment project area and approving a tax increment financing plan therefore.
All right, and this item came before us at the Housing and Redevelopment Authority today. So I will take a motion from Ms. Prince to close the public hearing and approve and ask if there's any further discussion.
Council President Brenmon, I did ask if Jenny Wolf could be here and just do a very brief staff report on this item.
All right.
So I believe she is here and I appreciate that, Jenny. And Johnny O'Para from JO Properties is also online if anyone has any questions.
All right, welcome, Ms. Wolf.
Thank you, Council President, Council members. Yeah, as Councilmember Prince said, this item was discussed at the HRA board to approve new TIF financing and pooled TIF financing and land sale and bonds. So what's before the City Council right now is a public hearing to set up the new housing TIF district. And in order to do that, we also have to amend the project area to expand it to include the 520 Payne Avenue project. The TIF district will be a new housing TIF district set up to collect for a total of up to 26 years. The market value information for the TIF plan was worked on with the county. 13,020,000 of market values expected from this project. And the TIF assistance amount, the principal amount, is yet to be finalized based on the developer's final financing rate, but it's estimated to not exceed 1.2 million in a pay-as-you-go TIF note that will be authorized through the HRA board. So the HRA board's action was basically contingent on this action here by the City Council following the public hearing. Are there any questions?
Are there questions for Ms. Wolf? Do not appear to be questions. Thank you for the report. As I mentioned, we did have a quite expansive report today at HRA. So like sometimes if people are just tuning into the council meeting, they may not know the robust conversation and enthusiasm that was in our 2 o'clock gathering. Any other questions, or there is a motion from Ms. Prince? All right, roll call.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Yang,
Aye.
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tao,
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. The legislative hearing officer recommends adoption of the following resolutions as no objections to these recommendations were received. Item 41, RLH TA 21-427, 284 Albert Street South. Item 42, RLH OA 21-14, 90 Crocus Place. Item 43, RLH BBR 21-72, 1154 Galtier Street. Item 44, RLH BBR 21-76, 722 Geranium Avenue East. Item 47, RLH BO 21-45, 754 Sherburne Avenue. And item 48, RLH OA 21-15, 2383 Youngman Avenue. And the motion is to adopt these items.
So moved by Mr. Tolbert. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Yang,
Aye.
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tao,
Aye.
Council President Redmond.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearings are closed and the resolutions are adopted. For the following item, no objection to the legislative hearing officer's amended recommendation was received, and therefore she recommends amendment and adoption of item 46, RLH RR 21-41, 864 Marion Street. And again, the motion is to amend and adopt.
All right, so moved by Mr. Tao. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Yang,
Aye.
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tao,
Aye.
Council President Bredmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted as amended. For the following item, the legislative hearing officer's recommendation is to refer it to legislative hearing on November 16th. Item 45, RLH FCO 21-162, 1008 Lawson Avenue East. And again, the motion is to refer to legislative hearing on November 16th.
So moved by Ms. Yang. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Yang,
Aye.
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tao,
Aye.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The resolution is referred to the November 16th legislative hearing. That's it.
And that brings us to the end of our agenda. Is there any news from the wards or information to share before we are adjourned today? I see Ms. Prince, Mr. Tao, and Ms. Yang. Let's start with Ms. Prince.
Thank you, Council President Brenmoen. I am just speaking on behalf of the City Council, sitting as the Library Board, to say that starting November 13th, many library locations across St. Paul will be open more Saturday, Sunday, and Monday hours. Again, starting this Saturday, thanks to the restoration of library staff and hours by all of us. The focus on adding weekend hours is based upon feedback from library users. So just look up your branch library and you can find out when it's going to be open on weekends. And thanks to all my colleagues for supporting this eventuality.
It's great. And I've noticed, I don't know if it's because we have different leadership on the national level, but there seems to be more bandwidth on the local news scene. And we've got great press about that and other items that have happened locally. And I'm excited to see what, like, some of these great things that are happening locally getting some ink. So that's cool. Mr. Tao and then Ms. Yang.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to announce that the Minnesota United FC, our soccer team, the Loons, have made it the 2021 playoff. It's a big deal because not a lot of sports team in Minnesota makes the playoff. It's set beside the links, right? Like, they're great. And so the first game will be in Portland on Sunday the 21st. And so that's a big deal for St. Paul. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Ms. Yang.
Thank you. My staff and my team and I, we always try to find ways to bring people in our community together and do fun things as well. And so this Saturday, November 13th from 9 to 11 a.m., we are doing our second pothole reporting event of the year. And this really sparked as, since we noticed our constituents emailing us, not knowing where to report potholes. And so this is a way to educate folks about where to report them, but also do something together in getting our potholes filled as well as before the snow comes. And so that will be our event for this Saturday. We'll be meeting at Arlington Hills Community Center, and our staff will be training folks on how to report it and giving out the information as well. So everyone is available or free to come and join us.
Great. Thank you for that. And I did notice today that the St. Paul Public Schools was lifting up the Highland Girls Cross Country team that won state, which is pretty darn awesome. And the Humboldt boys also won state in soccer. And we had a great, Washington Tech made it to the playoffs, so we had a great showing there. And I just, over and over again, just so proud of our St. Paul urban high schools. And it really feels like there's sort of a new surge of, power teams coming out of our schools, and I want to make sure that we lift those things up here. I know we've got Johnson's great badminton team and et cetera. I could go on, but we'll take the opportunity when I see those things to share them here because I'm proud of our athletes, and it's a pretty big deal to make it all the way to state and then actually win. So there's that. Anything else to share before we get out of here? All right. Thank you very much. There's nothing else to come before us. We are adjourned.
Fashion, making things using good solid cooking technique to make things taste very good. Aisha's going to show